how did you go, because you started your career at Reformation, how do you go about starting your own brand? Like, how did that even happen? Like, how did LPA fall into your lap?
I'm not somebody who would have been able to raise money and create partnerships with.
It's fucking gnarly is what it is.
Yeah, I don't, and I'm not even in that, like, I don't even know, like, someone emailed me the other day to have someone come on the podcast who is a really big venture capitalist. And she's like, oh, you know her because she, and I was like, oh my God, I have no fucking clue who that is. Like and I should, like, I was like, fuck, like, I'm like really out of that world. Like I'm out of that world. The reason why LPA was able to launch is it was a partnership with Revolve.
But how did that even come about? Like,
so
say, like,
fucking insane. The story is insane.
No, tell us the insane story for like anyone who's like a young and upcoming like person with a dream.
Well, it's a specific thing because now it's totally different. By the way, like when LP launched, when that I signed my deal, I think it was like 8.5 years ago. It was a totally different landscape. Now there are so many brands, like you see Meow and Kolkaya and like, thank God, like, you know, like Alexia from Meow, like I've seen her like show up at Revolve appointments like with a rack herself, by herself with like nobody, like she's like hustling, creating the content. Like Instagram was just in a different place 8 years ago. So like now I feel like if you're someone who wants a brand, like, you know, finding production and being able to do it yourself is way more attainable now than it was 8 years ago. 8 years ago, it was like you have to find like millions of dollars and launch a collection, and it needs. Now I think you can make like a perfect garment.
Everything is a lot more accessible these days, though.
And you don't need to launch a big collection.
Yeah.
If you're like, I make this perfect tank top, you could sell thousands of that perfect fucking tank top and then be like, now here's my perfect dress. Like, now here's my perfect pant. Or now here's the tank top in 5 colors or the tank top in an exclusive print. Like, I think like other brands have done such a good job of that, where at the time it was like you launch a collection. So I was at People's Revolution before Reformation doing PR, and then started at Ref doing like in-house PR, and I was the brand manager there for a long time. And then once I really started to know the customer, also I became the customer. That's also like a different thing. Like, it's not like I was branding and coming up with concepts for a girl that wasn't me. I was the exact customer. And so I started really understanding what she wanted to wear and got invited to sit in on design meetings, which was so fun. And it's what I studied at Parsons. I was a design and management major. So I would sit in on design meetings and be like, oh, I love that dress, but actually like I have a curvier body. Maybe if it looked like this, or maybe if we did this, or I'm really feeling this or whatever. And so then I was doing a lot of things. I was the brand manager. Then I wanted to move to LA before the office moved here. So I worked in the store on Melrose, which is now I think the Vintage store. I like ran the store 3 days a week, and then would go to the office for design meetings and like, you know, internal office stuff 1 day a week. Then I got to the point where I was like, okay, there's like nowhere for me to grow. I was kind of itchy. I was trying to feel like what my next move was, but I'd been with the brand off and on. You know, I'd left at one point and come back. So I was really like tied to the brand, but really ready to do something else. And I got an email from Zara, and Zara was like, we would like for you to interview with us. And I had gotten the email when I was in a previous relationship, and the idea of like uprooting both of our lives to Spain together when I wasn't sure where our relationship was going wasn't an option for me. But then we broke up, and I emailed back Zara and was like, I'm down for an interview, like wanting to eat, pray, love myself, and like also get like a ticket to Europe, which is really funny. And a friend of mine, I was like, why don't we go, I'm going to go to Spain. Why don't we meet in Italy? And a friend of mine was like, I'll totally meet you there. I have to go to a Revolve event in the Hamptons. So you go to Spain, I'll go to New York, and we'll meet in Naples and go to Amalfi. And I was like, great. And this is like 9 years ago. And she's at this Revolve event and was talking to Raisa at the Revolve event. And she said, oh, I heard you're going to, like, whatever, they paid for her ticket, right? So her ticket wasn't a return ticket, it was a ticket to Italy. And she's like, oh, what are you doing in Italy? She's like, I'm going to meet my friend Pia. She had a job interview. And she was like, wait, Pia from Reformation? And Rice was like, dude, I've been really wanting to connect with her. And she was like, wait a second, she's she's taking a job interview. And she was like, yeah, she's like, I had no clue she ever wanted to leave Reformation. Like, she seemed so synonymous with the brand. She's like, I've been wanting to work with her, but I never thought she'd leave. She was like, no, I think she's like kind of just open to whatever. So I interview with Zara. We land in Naples. We're like sitting at this restaurant on the beach in Amalfi. We had like rented this like shitty little Airbnb and got there, had our first meal. And we were like, this place is so expensive. Like, I don't know how we're going to fucking, thank God we were like two single babes. And like the owners of all these restaurants ended up like not charging us for meals.
Oh my
and like,
God.
Cause I was like, we're going to run out of fucking money. Like this place is insane. Like, Amalfi's the most overpriced. It's so beautiful. It is the most overpriced place in the fucking. It's like $20 for an Aperol spritz. It's fucking every meal there is atrociously expensive.
Oh my God.
I was like, we're not gonna make it through. So we end up like I sit down at lunch and I get an email from Zara saying that they had accepted or that they had wanted me to work there, and I was like, oh my God, I'm moving to Spain. This is insane. Like. And I felt, and then I'm scared. I don't want to leave my family. Oh my God, but I have to take this. And we're crying.
Like
I'm like, I'm in Italy.
yeah.
And I never thought I'd be able to come here. This is amazing, you know? And then Risa emailed me and was like, hey, I want to meet you. So I was like, it's so weird. So I get back. We set up a meeting. I go meet her. And she was like, listen, you know, Revolve has been developing our own brands now. And they're doing well. We know our customer, we know what they want. And that's how Risa started working there. She had a brand called Lovers and Friends that
that was hers.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So she was selling to Michael Mente for years, and then she ran out of money for production.
Oh my
Which is
God.
always the fucking problem, which
Yeah.
I'm sure you have too. You know, it's like, where are we getting fucking 50K to put up? And Mente was like, listen, I will give you the money for production. I don't want to tell the story wrong, but it was something along the lines of, she was like, I can't fulfill your order. I'm out of money. And he was like, why don't I give you the money? Why don't we kind of take this brand in house and you do it with me? And that's how it started. And so then they had launched,
I did not know that.
they had
That's so
Lovers
cool.
and Friends, and I think they were working on another one. And she was like, I think this is maybe the future of Revolve, is also having these like internal brands. Like, no one knows our customer like we do. Dumb is so smart, right? And so she's like, we would love for you to be the creative director of a brand for us. So I had 2 weeks to kind of decide and didn't know if I was going to do, like, I was like, I can't believe I went from thinking I was going to have the same job like till I died to having two opportunities of a lifetime.
That, first of all, insane story.
I know.
But how did you even get in front of someone like Arisa?
Literally through work. She had been following me on Instagram. And just so that's what I'm saying. Like, my friend went to the Revolve event and was like, I'm going to meet Pia. And she was like, holy shit, I've been dying to get in contact with her. And she connected us over email.
That is insanity. So
I know. It's I hate telling the story because I don't want anyone to feel like isolated by the like wild coincidences.
But like, look, you know what? I do think that I speak to so many people, right? And when you look back on your life, it's like, like that fucking crazy thing happened, right? And like, I've had that as well. And like, I think when people do look back on their careers, and not just careers, like life, you look back and you're like, oh my God, like, I can't believe it happened like that. Like, it always makes sense, and it's always a story after the fact.
I think the lesson out of it is that I was posting all of my work on my Instagram. Like, a dress would come out and I would be like, here's a dress I did, here's how we shot it, like, here's where, you know, I used Instagram as my portfolio.
And back then,
that wasn't normal.
Totally. I mean, this was like what you're saying 9 years ago. I mean, this was like early days of Instagram, I would say. So back then, were you on Instagram like the same way that you are today?
Yeah. People thought it was weird.
I mean,
I was like, Instagram's the new Facebook. And everyone was like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so you were like using it like you do
day
today.
one, yeah.
I mean, you were like one of the first then.
It was just, and I had a blog at the time. And so it was just like the people from the blog were like, oh, cool, now I have access to her. And like, you know, now how we're like, oh, maybe we need TikTok, and now maybe we need these other things. It was just, that's what it was at that time.
Something I'm noticing from your like journey here is that you've not been afraid to say like, not yet. So for example, with Zara, when you were in your old relationship and you weren't sure, you like said not yet and then called them afterwards. And then same with like I'm guessing when you got this email from Revolve, it's not exactly ideal to like make Zara wait even for like 2 business days. Yeah. And you did that. Where does that come from?
It definitely fucked up my relationship with Zara.
Well, I mean, here you are with Revolve.
I feel so bad because they're such a fucking great I know that it is like the biggest this is all within the context of, you know, arguably a very controversial way to make clothing. But the employees at Zara are, you know, it is like a family-owned company in like a little town, and it's a family there, you know, and they're all really wonderful, sweet people. So I always, you know, behind all these big brands are like human beings.
How do you have the courage to say not yet?
And
like do things on your own terms.
Yeah, well, I just want to be like thoughtful about things. You know, you have to like listen to your intuition, and like the Zara. Ironic that part of the decision making in Zara with Zara and Revolve was not wanting to like fall in love with someone in Europe and have them have to pick, which ended up happening anyway. Like Davide ended up having to give up his job to move here anyway. So I always find that to be like so ironic. But I think, you know, taking time I think we're in such a rushed world. By the way, I do this with fucking emails, like, or text messages. Like I got like I hate the word triggering but I got a very like triggering text message from a family member when I was on a plane when we were going out of town a couple like over the summer. And I got, you know, it's like I read this message. It was like trying to incite a riot in my life, you know, where someone was like, I heard this and like you said, and was just total. And people always, you know, whether it's a friend, a coworker, or whatever email you get, my cortisol's spiking.
Yeah, you can just feel it in your body.
I'm on a fucking plane, and I took a deep breath and I relieved myself of the responsibility of the quick response to that. And I thought, there's a lot of things in here that are trying to, like, this person's mad. They're trying to make me mad. I'm not going to get mad. I'm in a fucking tiny little cubicle on a plane. Like, you know, I'm in the air. Like, I'm not, this doesn't earn a quick response from me. And I have no problem taking days to answer this. I don't need to answer this quickly. Once you alleviate yourself of this need to do these things super quickly, you know, like my husband will do it too. He'll be like, oh, I got this. And I'm like, we're not in a rush to answer. He wakes up to all of his production emails and WhatsApp long messages from Italy every morning.
Yeah, it's
with this urgency to respond. And I'm like, take a fucking deep breath. You're already hours behind. We just have to kind of have a life where we're all just not so fucking reactionary. It's exhausting. I feel like we're all just sick. We're like sick people who are just getting so much information and so much cortisol spikes and so much quick reactions. And I'm just like, I'm trying really hard. I mean, I was late to an LPA meeting a couple of weeks ago, and I walked in and like now I'm driving fast, and now I'm like, and then on the freeway I was like, I'm not driving safe. I'm late. I have to take responsibility for my lateness. I also need to take responsibility for the fact that there's 8 people sitting in that room waiting for me, and I'm not going to enter that room with crazy fucking chaos. I walked in, I said, I'm so sorry for being late. It'll never happen again. I don't mean to disrespect anybody's times. How are we all doing? We're all doing good. I ordered us some fucking croissants. Like, I was responsible for the energy that it brought to that space, and it wasn't chaotic. And I remember saying to Chloe, who designs with me, I was like, I didn't want to come in here with crazy energy. I'm really sorry I'm late. And she brought it up the other day. She was like, dude, when I was coming into this meeting, the rack was wrong and this was wrong. And she was like, I like took a second to be like, I don't want to come into this space. You know when someone comes into work with chaos?
Yes.
It happens with everything, you know? So I was like, what's the fucking rush? Like, I'm late already, you know? Like, I don't need to be like cutting somebody off on the freeway and then having a bad interaction with somebody in the elevator. And like,
I think that we just feel a lot of pressure to like react right away. And like, I mean, I like when you're talking about Davide, like I get it, right? Because some of our team is on the East Coast, and I wake up to Slack messages, and
me.
I have it off now. I just can't look at it in the morning because I have to take that time for myself to like be able to make decisions in a sound way. Otherwise, like you're just reacting. You've not really thought through like what's meant to happen, you know? And so it's like, I don't know, like I think, and on this in this part of the world at least, like it's just, that's kind of the expectation, but you don't have to do that.
No, I say it to my niece too. She's like new in college, and she'll be like, oh, this thing happened. And I'm like, why don't you call that person and say, hey, I feel a little bit of ickiness. Like, is there something that I did? Like, let's just all be calm, be direct. It's not that deep. You know what like, I'm always just like, it's not that deep. Like, nothing's that deep. Like, it's all fine. I hate that I have to have my phone next to me when I sleep, but that's how we have security cameras, and I'm scared of, I don't know, I'm just like want to hear the pings on the baby camera and the security cameras. My phone is right next to me, but like, yeah, I had to turn off like my news notifications and my email notifications.
I don't look at the news. It's just too much.
I get fucking New York Times pop-up notifications, and it's gnarly.
Are you sadistic?
I don't know. It's the only thing. And then I have all my comments on for all the brands.
I can't.
I know there's like a fight happening on my
Oh my god!
I just want to make sure I can like manage like if there's like a riot happening.
Nish is like that too, and I see his phone pop off, and I'm like, oh my god! Like I cannot with the comments.
If he can do it, let him fucking do it. You know, it's fine.
I know he needs to.
Yeah,
he needs to. So I'm like, you just keep it on. Like let me know, but like you know what? It's fine. Like even if we miss it by like 5-10 minutes, like okay. But I mean that's just the difference there. So you are living your life, thriving, like running this company, LPA, new with Revolve, whatever. How do you meet Davide? This like guy from okay. And he was from Italy, like he was living in Italy?
He's from Italy and had gotten a job at Suit Supply in Milan. When Suit Supply had first started, and they had him opening up different stores in various areas, and they also had him doing production stuff. So he lived in Shanghai, and then he was living in Amsterdam. He was kind of like bopping around, and then he got a job to work for Brunello Cucinelli. So they had him in New York, going back and forth to Italy. And then his goal was to move to the job offer he got right when we got engaged, which is what he'd been working towards, was to move to their headquarters in Umbria in Solomeo, which he didn't take because I said I wouldn't move there.
Oh my gosh.
So sad. So he DM'd me. So I was just, it was before LPA launched. And there used to be a popular page.
Yeah.
Before Explore page.
Yeah.
And I post a selfie after like a fucking haircut. And like was
the
like
good old days.
New haircut, you know, like whatever. And he DM'd me and said, "You look interesting." Because his English wasn't very good at that point.
Charming.
Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of the things he says are like a direct translation from like Italian to English.
I watched this video that you posted, Why So Hard?
Oh my God.
I was screaming.
Why so hard?
It was.
Why so hard? It's every time we're on the freeway.
I was crying. Like literal tears.
It's so funny.
So.
Because it's so, the flow of traffic in Italy. I mean, we spent a month there this summer, and we are never in one place. So there's often at least an hour, if not a 5-hour drive in between where we are. So we spend so much time on the freeways there. And it is such a clear communication. If somebody's coming up behind you, if he's behind a car and he's going faster than that car, you flash your brights, and that car, without even thinking about it, automatically moves over to create space for the faster vehicle. When you do that here, it incites road rage. So he'll do that here sometimes, and I'm like, you rolling up behind a car and flashing your brights, it's like actually one of the most dangerous things you could do on the fucking streets here, and like you have to stop. And he'll be like, oh my God, I totally forgot. Like I forgot we're like, I'm like, yeah. And so, yeah. And then like people like to almost go slower to like piss you off. But I'm like, it should be. The freeways really are designed where it's fast to slow. What was really funny is then he said, you go fast and then medium and then you go slow. And my one friend responded, I like to go medium. And I was like, so it's like the way he like his interpretation of things is really
Oh my God. Okay, so you're interesting.
So yeah, I said, you look interesting. And then oh God. And then I ignored it. And then he's like, and complicated, I guess. And I was like, what the fuck does that? And then I responded, what does that mean? Like, I was just like, I was being reactive. I should have been like, this guy's clearly playing a game with me and trying to like poke me. But I took the bait. And then I was in Austin for like one of my best friends had like, we went to Austin for her birthday. She's from Texas. And so we went and had like a really fun Texas weekend. And I was drunk and like smoking a joint and got like enough courage in me to answer the DM. And then he responded like, I've had a long day at work. Like, I don't really use this app that much. Like, here's my number if you want to call me. And I was like, ew, what? Gross. No, like, that's so weird. And then I didn't. And then I think like, I was like, I'm not doing that. Like, here's my number. If you, And then he like called me and we got on the phone and I was like, oh God, like you have a very thick accent. And he was like, yeah, I'm from Italy. And I was like, oh wow, okay, like cool. Like it was very like, do you ever watch The Sopranos?
I mean, I've watched it here and there, but not
So there's an episode when Tony goes to Italy and I feel like it's one of the most important episodes, like in terms of understanding that like American Italian is like a real legitimate, obviously, total culture within itself that has only certain things to do with Italy, like but they're all very, like, you know, when everyone came over here, their ingredients were different. Like they're both complete, valid, beautiful things. But it's when he goes to Italy, he realizes that a lot of the things he's asking for, like the names for things or whatever, like they don't understand him. So I grew up with my dad being like, you're Italian. And as an Italian, well, you know, we're us Italians, but like he never spoke Italian. And my grandma, you know, it was embarrassing to speak another language. She had to acclimate, you know, they wanted to be as American as possible, as quickly as possible. So, it's funny, like only when I started dating Davide did my grandma start speaking Italian to him. And I was like, she was in her fucking 90s and I'd never heard her say anything, which was so crazy. She was the president of the American Italian Club downtown. And I mean,
it's just different. It's two different cultures.
It was two, and so I'm like, oh, I'm Italian. And he's like, oh, and then started speaking. And I was like, oh no, I don't, you know, it's just like so dumb. Like I was like, it was just this crazy, cute, like culture clash. And I had dated guys that were I dated guys that were skateboarders and streetwear and, you know, completely different. I was like a suit guy, huh? Like this is totally out of my world. And we ended up just talking often for about a month and a half.
And then was he going back and forth in that time period?
No, he only came out to LA. He came out to LA to see me. He came out here because he had to be. So he would get sent everywhere. Brunello has a store or a shop in shop. Davide was constantly there, remerching the shop in shop, doing what's it called? Like product info to the salesman, making sure all the stores looked good. So he would come to the store in Beverly Hills and then he would go to Neiman's, make sure the shop, you know, he was like in charge of all of that. I mean, he would come for a day and then fly out, and he did that across the whole country. He's seen more of the US than I've ever seen, like, because he's been to, and he did every trunk show and all the high-end clients and stuff. So he had to be in San Francisco on a Monday morning. Yeah. So he took he never missed. He's an overworker. So he there's like a 9 p.m. flight on Delta out of JFK that comes to LA on Fridays. So he took that flight and then the first flight out Sunday morning to get to San Francisco or wherever it was to make sure he was ready Monday morning. So he was like, I can come for this quick trip because I was like, we have to meet. Yeah. I wake up to messages from you. You get off work.
So you guys were in like a full-on
we were in
situationship
like all day. Okay. I'm on my lunch break. We're FaceTiming. He's you know, like,
you guys have
his
to meet.
Schedule memorized.
Oh my God,
met my parents on FaceTime. Yeah, he didn't meet my parents the first trip. He met them on the second one. Yeah. But then he like landed at like midnight on a Friday, and it was fucking insane. And I was so nervous and wanted to die. And then we had like a great weekend.
And so then what happens afterwards? Like he's going, I guess, like all across the US. Like he doesn't live in
We
LA.
had
Like
a very tumultuous long distance relationship for I think over a year and a half, where we'd be together and then we'd have a horrible breakup, and then he used to say to me, and it sounds mean, but it's just the trend. He'd say, I don't like the way you move. And I think it's a very interesting concept because he would come out here and I'd make dinner reservations and I would drive us around. And I remember one time we were sitting at dinner and he was like, oh, I need matches. He wanted something and I got up and got it. And he was like, you don't allow me to do anything that I was raised to do to treat a woman well. You walk in front of, you open doors for me, you drive, he's like, it's your show.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I think that we are trained to be in our masculine. Like women don't want to go into their feminine.
No.
Forget men.
No, because we're supposed to be these like powerful NDEP,
Exactly.
It's like.
And like, I'm the same, by the way, where it's like, I'm almost like, it's too masculine, and I've been learning about like masculine and feminine energy and like to learn to come into my feminine, like be okay with like, certain portions of like being taken care of, it's hard.
He had no clue what to do, like, and it bothered him, and how open I was. He was very private. His Instagram had a few photos on it. Brunello Cucinelli is a very elegant, very, very quiet, not, like they barely, they weren't really using, like he would go into the office and people would be like, I saw your whole weekend on Instagram. Like you're with that girl. And he'd be like, what the fuck? Like he felt like he was like, I have no control over my personal life. Like, and then we hang out and it's great, but like, I can't even be myself around you because you're like this whole thing. I really had to learn to like, it was beautiful. It was like a long, beautiful learning experience to like get to where we are. We got to the point where we were kind of like, don't ask, don't tell. Like,
so for women or girls who are going through kind of, because for anyone who doesn't know, like you guys are together and like like the cutest relationship I've seen, like it's so cute. But what do you say to girls who kind of go through that period? Like, how did you know that you were even going to end up with him if like you guys were kind of doing the on and off situation?
Well, what was very weird is very early on, and I've had multiple long-term relationships. I would go to sleep or like wake up next to him and it was just this overall uncontrollable gut feeling, this is my person. To the point where I remember like waking up in the night and looking at him and being like, wow, this is it? Like that, not in a bad way. I would just be like, okay, like those are like, that's the butt I'm always going to see. And that's like the hands I'm always going to, like, I would just be like, this little being is like, this is what was chosen for me. Like, okay. Like it was just, it was so far beyond. And then, obviously like, I think, fights are always like very good and very healthy unless they're not. And it was good for us to understand each other. And so he said, we got to this place where I was like, listen, you can't make a promise to me. I love spending time with you. I was going to New York all the time for work. So we kind of had this like don't ask, don't tell thing. Cause I was like, I'm not going to stop dating other people. Like what if I miss someone because I'm putting all my eggs in my basket with this guy who I know that I want to be with, but he's not there yet because he was so goal oriented. He was working his ass off to get this promotion. And so what ended up happening is I had to go to New York I had a photo shoot. And I was shooting like LPA all weekend and LPA was launching at Saks. And so we were doing all this promotion around that. And I get to his apartment and then I had a hotel the rest of the weekend, but I get to the apartment and, at this point I'm like, his roommate is one of my closest, like his roommate Orazio is like my family at this point, like Davide was always working. I'd call Orazio, like he'd be there. He'd let me in. We'd go out. Like we have a whole thing, Orazio always, because I would stay with them. Right. So, and so we would have this whole, so I landed and like all their friends, everyone's like and I had the dog with me and everyone's like, oh, you're here. And Davide was cold. And I was like, this is fucking weird. I've never experienced this. And it was awkward. And I was like, we go into his room and I was like, dude, you've never acted like this. Like, I feel fucking uncomfortable. Do you want me to leave? And I said it in a nice way, but I was like, and he looked at me and was like, this is exhausting. You come here, I get wrapped up in our world. It's amazing. You leave. I miss you. I get readjusted to being without you. I get back on my routine. You come, I get wrapped up in this thing, throws me off. I miss you, a whole thing.
It's like a hamster wheel.
It's too much. And I was like, you know what? Why don't we have one last weekend and never talk to each other again? And I will promise that to you. Because we would like break up and then I'd like, we'd break up. And then I remember one time I got into a fender bender and like I called him instead of my parents. And he was like, okay, this is what you do. And I just, he was like my navigation.
Yeah.
I
your
felt
person.
he was my, and then we'd talk again. Or then we like broke up once and his best friend, who's the godfather of our daughter, who speaks no English, called me one time. And I was like, Joe Santo. And he was like, hold on, Pia. And then like put Davide on the phone. And I was like, hi. And he's like, did you call Santo? And I was like, no, he called me and put you on the phone. He was like, this motherfucker. And then we started talking again. It would be like, so I was like, that's it. Delete numbers, block, done. I'll never, whole thing. And then by Sunday, we were like, we have to be together forever.
And then he got a promotion in Italy.
And we went to the town. So that was September. He was like, let's be together forever. We took a bath in the hotel. And I was like, okay, who have you been fucking that might tell me that you've been fucking? And who have and because I was like, now we need to tell each other. Yeah. Which was funny because like a girl that had been like hooking up with him, like her friend messaged me and was like, he was just fucking so. I was like, I know. And I feel really bad for her. And I'm like, so I'm not mad at her. You know what I mean? Like, it was sad. Like we had like other things going on because we were allowed to, because it was like normal and adult. And I was like, if I don't see him for a month, I'm going to stay here with twiddling my fucking thumbs. Like I need to go out and date too, So that was September. December, he said, let's go to Italy for Christmas to meet my family. And then he proposed to me.
Wow.
And then, it was quick. And then we drove from Sicily up to the town where Brunello is and slept there because he had to be at work the next day there. And I saw the town and I cried. I said, this is the most beautiful place I've ever been, but I cannot move to a small town of like 500 people in the middle of Italy. Like,
yeah, it's just shock.
I just was like, I just launched LPA. Like,
no,
and I didn't want to put my career before him, but I was like, this is such, like, you're already in America. You already speak English. Like,
whereas for you, it's like a huge, like, it's like a whole different world.
And I just had this feeling. I was like, you don't understand how entrepreneurial you are. You don't have, when you grow up in Italy, you don't have these, like now kids do, but to get a job like that in Italy is so rare, that you work for such a wonderful company and make good money, that to turn it down is just suicide. Like they were like, can you please go convince her? Like they were like, nobody turns this down, which was sad. Like I felt fucking awful, but I was like, I promise you there's something else. And then he quit his job and packed his stuff in a car and drove it across the country. He left on a Friday, got here Sunday, like didn't sleep. And then we launched Kia with like no money.
Holy crap.
I know, it was a lot.
What made him decide to?
I don't know. And it was really hard because the first two, like he couldn't work without a green card.
I'm going through visa shit because I'm Canadian and I like really.
I mean, imagine him like giving up his dream job and then he couldn't work for a year and a half. And I would like get home from work and he'd be like depressed in the dark. Like it was really bad. And then COVID happened afterwards, so the poor guy was like isolated. He didn't go to Italy for like years. He missed his mom's funeral. It was really, really bad. His mom got sick and died, and it was like a lot of horrible, really traumatic things. Yeah, it was really bad. And now, like, even we were at dinner last night kind of having like a life recap with one another, and he was like, I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And he says that all the time. He's like, I know. He's like, I see it and I feel it and I love my life and I couldn't be happier. And
well, I mean, I think that things work out for a reason. And when you're in the depths of shit, I don't think you see it, right? Mm-hmm. But like now he has this beautiful cashmere brand, and like who knows what that'll become, right? Like it could become. I mean, he's definitely brand,
getting like circled. Like he's really smart. Like there's been a lot of people who've been like, you should do this and you should do that, and he was like, the investment that I will take on will be with someone who is a partner and understands how to grow this company in the way that it needs to and not have this big blow up and then to fall. He's very strategic and follows his gut, and I trust him wholeheartedly in that. And I mean, he's like we like, he's like, it's so funny because it's like little store. Like he's almost sold out of half the stuff that's in there right now.
That's amazing.
Like I get a email every time he has a sale, and like literally on Friday I was like, do you need help? Like because he's just one person in there. I'm like, do you need help? He's like, the store is fucking packed. Like I can't like ring things up fast enough.
Oh my God. That's okay. So see, like, I mean, you never know what's going to happen when like you're going through it and it just feels like the end of the world. Like, you know, at the beginning of the interview, I was saying that like we look back on our lives and everything's a story, but like when you're going through it, it's not a story. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I know. Thank God. We're on the other side of it because it was really, the unfortunate thing is one of us was going to be depressed for some time. You know, it would have been me. It would have been him. Also, what was really sad is like he moved here and he was so excited to be with my dad, and my dad died 2 weeks later.
So sorry.
And then we like moved into the house. So it was like a lot of these like crazy things like happened within, you know, a year and a half. It was like a lot of just like stuff that would really test a couple, you know, and we made it through. I think life is just total chapters, right? So we was like a sad chapter and we made it. Now we're in this chapter. Who knows what'll happen in the future, but we're in like a really nice, cool place right now.
So you are one of my favorite people on the internet.
Oh my God, thank you.
Because no, like genuinely, because I feel like you are so fearless about sharing.
I'm not. Everything I'm saying to you right now, I'm thinking, oh, I hope they don't hear this and I hope this doesn't get interpreted this way. I'm panicking right now.
But you still do it, you know? You still do it.
I don't know how to have a filter. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, I could have filtered that. I could have said that a different way.
You know, when you
That's a huge source of my anxiety.
I mean, but you should feel comfort in knowing that like people feel less alone, you know?
Oh,
and
thank you.
I've seen you post things here and there. Like, for example, I remember it was like someone had asked about like, what about your house or something? And you're like, well, I don't own it yet.
Yeah.
Right. And I think like you've been so fearless about showing kind of like the sad in life too.
Yeah.
What made you that way? And like, how do you choose?
I've been that way since kindergarten. It's made everybody uncomfortable for a long time. My mom would always just, shut the fuck up. Like, what the fuck?
And so have you always been so disarming with like,
yeah, it's bad.
I mean, it's not bad. Like but I think it makes you who you are. Like
it's nothing
like,
I can help.
You know, I've seen,
I wish I was like a silent killer. You know what I mean?
But
I wish I was
like I've never seen anything like it though. Like this is the thing. Like truly, like your content is so like just unique and special because of like who you are and like you just share and like you know you don't care.
Yeah, I can't.
Or like you care, but like you know you still put it out there.
No, I do, and I just. No, poor Nick, my like podcast producer. I'm always like, hey, can you remove like this? And he's like, that's not going to offend anybody. And I'm like, but it might. And I don't want to, you know, I'm very, I don't know. It was really hard. You know, what it does is it gives people a lot of information to criticize me. And so the criticism is very personal and.
Do people do that?
Really intense. Oh yeah. It's
like,
fine. It's part of the
mean?
thing. It's not, I mean, I hate saying someone is mean is like so it's like people have opinions about things that I say and put, you know, and I allow that to happen. Like I'm not someone who's like, I could have created like an internet space where I'm like, here's my outfit and like, what's your favorite breakfast and how do we, you know, here's what I'm doing. But I don't know how. I have a like if something happens to me, I feel this deep desire to blurt it out and share it with people. I don't know fucking why.
And how do you deal with any like any comments?
I'm sick about it all the time. I have no clue. I actually think I need to like get some serious like therapy work over it because I'm like debilitated by it and it makes me sick. And I see the comments in my head all the time and I like look for them and I seek them out and like I like read them out loud, and every time I go to sleep at night, I hear all the things in my head. I hear them in my head all day long, actually.
So
it's like obsessively
you being
disgusting.
with someone who is so private, like how did you kind of bridge that gap? Because by the way, like he doesn't like he seems like he's
he's fucking
as disarming as
we just did our live podcast in New York, and he like it was like I did it with him. I was like, it's cute. It makes me comfortable. He's there. We'll do our relationship questions, whatever. And he got out there and he was like, grabbed the mic and he was like, like I was just like, do you want me to leave you alone? Like, are you kidding me? Like, okay, dude, this is the fucking Davide show. I was like, go on. This is fire. Like, he was like, it was so...
He's in his element.
I was like, fuck you for ever saying you wanted to be private, you loser. But I think that was, you know, I think when he was super private, like, that was a part of his life where he was head down, felt like he was in the army. He was like a soldier, and he lived and died for his work. He still does, and it was part of the. Well, now like girls who listen to the podcast, like they go into the store and they'll buy a sweater for their dad or their husbands, or buy an espresso cup for themselves. Like, he loves that connection. He loved, like, we love people so much. Like, I even like posted something the other day where like we were at a restaurant and my mom was like at a stranger's table, like. It was like there was like two grandparents with their grandchild, and they were watching Miss Rachel, which is like what Carmela watches. And my mom walked up to them and was like, "Oh my god, how much you love Miss Rachel?" And then she was like, "Oh my god, you're so, I actually know you because," and it's like 20 minutes she's over there, and I like filmed it and put it on Instagram, and I was like, if anybody's wondering why I have a deep desire to constantly connect with strangers, it's from like every time my mom's on the phone with AT&T help, she's just like, "Rachel, it was so great. I hope everything works out with your mom." Like, I'm like, what the fuck,
that
Mom?
is so cute.
She's like dying to be, and went like, she was at Ralph's like 2 years ago, and this woman was like really mean to her about a cart, and she didn't stick up for herself because my mom's not aggressive outwardly, even if it's in defense of herself. She shuts down, she gets quiet, she doesn't want to be like disruptive, and she still talks about that story. That like this woman was like mean to her in the parking lot, and that she should have stood up to herself, because to have a bad interaction for her is really hard, and it's hard for me too.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It's kind of rough.
Yeah.
So this plot, like, you know, changing a little bit, but you do a lot of things. Okay, you have LPA, you have a podcast, you are working on Baroncini. Is it imports or exports? How do you, I forget.
Import.
Okay, yeah. I always forget. I always confuse the two. And do you work with Davide on his brand as well?
Yeah,
How? Like, what?
I'm behind on everything.
But how do you?
And was 30 minutes late this morning to this podcast.
How do you structure your days?
I don't know how to. I have to figure it out better, because I really didn't want. I always want to. I don't want to overwork. It's not healthy, you know? So I would never open my computer after dinner. Now I'm like, after dinner, that's actually the time I can answer my emails. If I'm answering emails all day, I'm really distracted from the other things I need to do. The podcast is like so hard for me to, like, you know, we have to turn them in like ahead. Like, it's, especially if like somebody has to change their schedule, like, now I do a lot of personal, like, solo episodes, and a lot with my mom and Davide. It's hard to get him because like his schedule, he's tired, so we do them like late at night in bed a lot, and I hate doing the solo podcasts because I feel like I'm talking to myself, and it's weird and awkward. And
I went through the same thing. By the way, I did my first solo like last year, and I was like, who's gonna want to listen to this?
I know.
And then like it did well, and Ali, who's my producer, was like,
more. They just want more.
Yeah, and I'm like, wait, people want to listen to the shit that I have to say? Me, like,
it's so weird, so odd. So I always like put them off, and I need a really good. Like, I want to be like Mariana Hewitt, you know? Like, I just look at that bitch and I'm like, you organized, perfect little queen who does it all. And she'll be like, oh, Tuesdays I do this, and Wednesdays I do. Like, she's so organized. I had her on the podcast and like tried to implement some of what she does and like failed miserably.
Do you have an assistant?
Not a personal assistant.
Yeah, we're like,
I think it's more work for me.
No, that's what I mean. Oh, like to manage the person, you mean? Okay.
To have someone ask me, like, if I'm not looking at my schedule and managing it myself, I won't look at it if somebody else is doing it. I will have even if I know I'm supposed to know what's happening tomorrow, I'm like, oh, that's taken off my to-do list. And then my day will start and I'm supposed to be somewhere and I'm not there.
Honestly, Pia, like, I don't actually know how you're doing all of this.
I'm behind on everything.
But you're still...
I'm like 2 weeks late on a deck I'm supposed to do. That's like really important. Like, it's yeah, I don't know. What I need to do is like, Baroncini needs money. And I need like a project manager for that. And like, that's what I'm working on, because if I can get it to the place where I have LPA, where like LPA go into the office like once or twice a month and we bang out an entire quarter in a day. Like, it's like all the samples are there. I give all my fit notes. I give the deck for the next quarter. We do all the prints. We approve everything. With the fit models there, we're trying everything on. We go over the next sketches. We're like, boom, boom, boom. I want to be able to get to the point where like Baroncini is a little bit in the same way, where it's just me going in and like, you know, setting up concepts, having somebody else execute them, me approving things and like pressing go on stuff. I need to just get it to that place.
Yeah, it's always hard to get it to that place when you're in the business. So I understand.
And I'm starting to put boundaries up with Davide's brand, where I'm like, I can't. But then like he had a call the other day, and I like heard it, and he was like, "This is such a fucking unnecessary call." And the dude on the call was being really belittling to him, and like they wanted the call, and Davide was being really nice, and I was like, and it was a fucking hour and a half, and after I literally was like, I almost interjected to say like, "Hi, sorry, we share an office. I can hear this," which is we were in our bedroom. I just wanted to say, this call is inappropriate. Like now you're criticizing him. Like that wasn't a criticism. He was just like, your prices could be. You should not make it in Italy. You know what? It was like one of those. I was like, you're criticizing him and then asking him questions. This is not a consulting. Let me know if I should invoice you for this. And like, we're done. But I didn't want to be like the wife who's like, like how fucking, it's like I could cut his balls off and put him on a plate. It's like so rude. So I was like, I'm not doing that.
The masculine.
Yes. So I just sat there behind him going, and then afterwards he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, I'm on these calls now. Or like, do not take a call. Let me have a 15-minute with these people and be like, what's the point of this?
Yeah.
Because you wasted your entire morning having like a soul-sucking conversation about work that was like really bad and like didn't bring any productivity to your day, and you actually gave them a lot of free consulting information. Like, who the fuck? Who cares? You don't even know this person. Like, you don't just get to have a call with somebody an hour before you need to go to your work and like be on your A game.
Somehow still managing.
So I was literally me saying, I'm not doing this for you anymore, and then being like, you're never taking a meeting without me. Just let me filter these things, because he's very sensitive too. It's his, you know, this is his whole, like, that's his baby, you know. I'm a little more, after saying that the comments are in my head all day long, I have a little bit more of like I do have more of a filter. Like, we're both emotional, but if it's like, that's his baby, so I have no problem being like, we're cutting that off.
Yeah. Okay, so before we wrap, I want to do a quick rapid fire. Okay. First question. What's one book that changed your life?
The Missing Piece.
Who's it by? What's it about?
Oh, fuck me.
Okay, forget who's
Silver,
it by.
Silver. Oh my God. It's my favorite. He's like a kid's book, and he does these crazy poems, and they're kind of all Shel Silverstein.
Oh, I love.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay, so good.
Yeah.
So it's a kid's book? Okay, I'm gonna read that.
They're kind of dark, but they're cool poems.
What is one habit that's a non-negotiable for you?
Going out to dinner with my husband.
Love that. Same. What is your best tip on social media and community building?
Community building? Stop looking at like what other people are doing, which is so hard, but like you don't need. I don't know. I think it's like cooler to just be like more real about like what's going on in your day, instead of being like, oh, I saw this person do that. That looks like a good tactic to like gain more. Like, I see so many people like responding to every like, and like adding all these things to like try to gain engagement. And I'm like, if you're just more engaging as like with what you're doing during the day, I feel like I want to see that more. Like, I don't want to see tactics to like build followers.
Love that. Tell everyone where they can find you.
Pia Baroncini, piabaroncini.com. All my stuff is on there.
And your podcast.
Oh, yeah. I also have a podcast. It's called Everything is the Best.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.